Over 200 years before Bridgerton, there was Pride and Prejudice, and now you have just one more weekend to experience this timeless love story live on stage. And joining us today from Crooked Path Theater's production of Pride and Prejudice, we have cast members Katie Hahn and Faith Kimball. Hi, thanks for being here.
Our pleasure. Thanks for having us.
Of course. So, for those who might need a wee bit of a refresher on what Pride and Prejudice is about, can you give us a quick plot?
Of course. So, people may have encountered this story before. There's a famous BBC adaptation in the 90s, and then the Keira Knightley version in 2005, which is a very romantic drama interpretation of it. But this is the classic Jane Austen story where there's, you know, the smart, witty Elizabeth Bennet who meets the very proud Mr. Darcy, and at first, you know, he hurts her pride, and so they don't seem to get along at first, but by the end, you know, things may have changed as they find out a little bit more about who the other person really is.
Sure, so a classic romance, but one of the original classics.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit about your characters, Faith.
I play Lydia Bennet, the youngest Bennet sister. She's probably the loudest of all of them.
Fun.
And she's very much the wonderful, exemplary woman of the time, trying to get a man as soon as possible, and very much ignoring all of her sister's wishes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, and in other ways, listening very earnestly to the advice that they give and trying to apply it, you know, but to, you know, maybe disastrous ends.
Oh, yes. Very.
That's not too much of a spoiler.
200
Well, I mean, 200 years. And we're
if you haven't seen it by now,
Yes. We'll come this weekend. And tell us a little bit more about Lizzie.
Yeah, so especially in this adaptation, Lizzie Bennet is, you know, very self-deprecating, but she prides herself in her sense of humor and her intelligence, and she, especially in Kate Hamill's adaptation, really views it all as a big game that women have to play about, you know, finding a husband. But by the end of the story, she starts to learn how to take a few things a little more seriously, as she kind of teaches Mr. Darcy how to maybe have a little more of a sense of humor about all of it.
And Mr. Darcy is a heartthrob. I mean, it is played by Matthew James.
Yes, who does not disappoint.
Yes, I'm sure he
very
never
dashing.
does. Yes. Tell, how big is this cast on the stage?
Well, the adaptation is written so that it can double, but we have a different actor in every character.
15 of us, yes, I believe.
Yeah.
It's a very big cast for a show this size.
Yes.
Very familial.
Yeah, and some of the cast are local professional actors, and we also have Cornell College students who are filling out the cast.
Right, so this is the first Crooked Path in collaboration with Cornell.
Yes. I am actually a Cornell student.
Oh, you are? Wonderful.
Yes, I'm in my senior year at Cornell, and so we were all given the opportunity to audition or find different ways to participate. So there are 3 other, well, including me, there are 3 students in the cast, as well as many behind the scenes. And so it's been just a really wonderful way for us to get to see what a professional theater setting is, and really make these amazing connections with people who are going into these paths, who are already in these paths that we want to go into.
Yes, it's a great way to learn more and really immerse yourself into theater. Speaking of immersive, this is an immersive show.
Yes,
so
it sure is.
You have 15 people on the stage, but you also have audience members.
Yes, and the James has like this bleacher seating that's just, you know, your pretty conventional proscenium style theater seating. But then we also have these big wagons that are like platforms on wheels that the audience can, you know, get the VIP tickets to sit on them. And then the actors and stagehands move those around so that the audience who are on those wagons get to see the show from multiple different angles. They get to feel like they're right there in the house with the Bennets, kind of living the story with us. It almost feels like a bit of an immersive Disneyland ride, like Pirates of the Caribbean or something like that. Yeah.
They should have a Pride and Prejudice ride somewhere, right?
Why hasn't anyone thought of that yet?
Yeah, come on,
Especially
Universal.
with Bridgerton being so popular.
Yes, Bridgerton.
Oh, yeah.
That's the other thing is this type of story, I mean, clearly we've been telling it for hundreds, if not thousands of years. Why is this one so popular still to this day?
That's a great question. I think it's It's so interesting to hear the characters work through their ideas about love and marriage. And Lizzie and Darcy are not the only couple that are important to this story. You also have Jane and Mr. Bingley, who have a very different arc, and Lydia and Wickham, and you have all of these different relationships. You have Mr. and Mrs. Bennet, and so it kind of shows all of these different ways that relationships can work out. Some where it's love at first sight, and and then they just take off, and others where it might take a little while for them to realize it. So I think that everyone who has had a romantic relationship will be able to see their experiences in one or more of the relationships on stage.
I love that.
I also think that it's really amazing for people who haven't experienced a romantic relationship, because it puts a very big emphasis on familial relationships, that sisterly connection and the love that is shared between people, not just romantically, and supporting through all of these times of trial.
Beautiful. I love that. Yes. So you have one more weekend, 3 chances to see it. It's at the James Theater. You can get tickets on their website. The 2 shows 7:30 and then matinee on Sunday at 2. Thank you guys for being here.
Thank you so much.
Nice to have you. Yes.